G'day Keys, g'day Astro Taka. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm just starting the stream here, so I haven't done this in a while, and I'm hoping all my gadgets still work and all my toys are functional. I am set up on the back deck here with a view of the moon and hoping that you guys can see that in full clarity and that you guys can hear my voice. Good. Thank you, Astro Taka. I can see the levels look okay. Can you guys hear the background music as well? Is that like too soft? Excellent. Well, while the room fills up, if you don't mind, I'm going to get my bottle of wine. So you should get your bottle of wine too, and come join me as we discuss the logistics of the lunar eclipse, which is happening in about 30 hours or so, which is why I was prompted to maybe, make sure this all works while we're at it. But yeah, live view of the moon. Hey, g'day Duncan, g'day the boy can play, William Blakers, Nadine Cloder, hi from Switzerland. You guys are from Europe mostly by the sounds of it, because the Americans are sleeping, so it's just between you and me for the minute. The Australians are, getting towards bedtime, but it's still pretty early in the evening. So allow me to get my wine and enjoy the moon while I'm gone. But you can probably still hear me as I walk away because it's a portable mic. And I'm going to the kitchen. Zach, can you keep your voice down? Live. No swearing or saying anything offensive. I know. You're a good boy. And Anna's watching some American politics. All right. G'day friends, Dylan from the Byron Bay Observatory here. This won't be up as a video on the channel later. I just thought I'd say g'day because it's been a while, and we'll do it one-on-one, hey? Tonight's drink is round 2, a Merlot from the Barossa Valley, and it's also the house wine at the pub that I live near. And a little trick: try the house wine because they tend to pick a good one that's not too expensive. So they always want something that's decent, and then find out, just ask the guy at the bar or ask the person in the bottle shop, what do you actually sell for your house wine? And then they'll tell you, and then you can buy it for like 50% cheaper at the bottle shop or somewhere else and get a really decent wine. To get a glass of this at my local is like it's like $19 for a glass, but I can buy the whole bottle for $20. So yeah, ask for the house wine. Little tip between us alcoholics. Salute. Let the little fella swear. I've actually asked him. I said, do you want to say a swear word? I'll give you permission to say a swear word. And he's such a good boy. He's like, no, I'm not going to swear. That's crazy. Hi from Germany. G'day Darkstar. Promised to be clouded out for the eclipse. Yeah, look, just as you mentioned it, we've got some clouds going over the moon right here, which is just bloody typical as soon as I start a live stream. But I don't think any of this is very thick tonight. The sky looks relatively clear, which is good, and it looks like it's going to clear for days too. But the fact that there are shadows going over the moon right now does prove that this is actually live, and I'm not just showing you a JPEG that I pulled up from Bing Images to fool you for clicks. I'll just shuffle around here and I'll give you some details. The g'day Costas from Greece. The lunar eclipse is at 3:30 a.m. not tomorrow morning, but the morning after. on a Monday morning, which is really not ideal when you have a 9-to-5 job, which I do at the moment. So I have to decide whether I'm going to stay up and just not sleep that night, then go to work, or whether I try and get to bed super early and then wake up, maybe leave everything set up so I can just turn it on and do another live stream like this tomorrow night. And you know, it's a long event. This is a long lunar eclipse. I think this is one of the longest ones. But 3:30 is the actual, you know, full totality of the eclipse, where the moon will be quite red. But it looks like I got all the gear working, and this is a pretty fantastic field of view. I'm not zoomed in or anything. This is how the moon is sitting on the chip. The camera that I'm using is a QHY 715, which is color. Even though the moon feels very monochrome, there are some very subtle colors which I really enjoy having in the moon. It took me a little while to color balance this. I wish I could increase the saturation though. If any of you guys know how to increase the saturation in sharp cap, let me know, because I'd love to, you know, if I stack this view and then do a saturation, I can get some pretty awesome, you know, mineral moon effects where we can see the different titanium oxides and lithium oxides on the moon, which give those blue, brown, green sort of areas on the moon. I can kind of see them subtly with my eyes right now, but only because I know where they are. To the untrained eye, you would feel that this is a pretty monochromatic view of the moon in general. But yeah, if you do know about there is a contrast slider, but the contrast slider is not, doesn't do anything for color really. It just makes everything really dark and horrible. So I'll leave it back at normal. But yeah, what is the moon phase right now? Let's check. I don't know about you guys, but the moon phase is on my phone, on the home screen. Like I have my phone set up for a lot of astro stuff, and my car and stocks, because I'm a fucking wanker. But the moon is currently at 97% waxing gibbous. We are heading towards that full moon, which will be the lunar eclipse. Obviously the full moon, the 100%, will be the moment of totality, and the shadow is cast over the moon, and Australia is looking right at it, which will be fantastic. Stefan says, whole lot of cloud where he is in New Zealand, which is not surprising in the land of the long dark cloud, which is such a shame because you guys have such beautiful dark skies, and a lot of the time the weather doesn't back it up, which is horrible. And you've got like high altitudes as well, which can also help. Avantesh Astro redacted a message, which I assume was something about sex, drugs, or rock and roll that can't be said in chat, but feel free to post it again if you feel like it. Waxing gibbous. And yes, hello. Avantesh Astro. Hi, Jari. Thanks for joining me. We are looking at a full, almost full moon, live view of the moon, and I can prove that it's live by moving my telescope around here. The telescope that I am using is the Apertura 75Q, which I've never used with the reducer before, the 0.75x reducer. I don't even know off the top of my head what FOV that gets me down to. I can run the numbers, not the FOV, the F number, because it's f5.4 normally. Obviously the speed of the telescope doesn't matter when you are doing lunar or solar or anything bright like that, even planetary to some degree. But I'll just plug in the details on my calculator on my website, byronbayobservatory.com.au, and I will see what it is. I simulated this on the calculator before I actually put it together tonight, just to see that field of view would be what it was, which is the whole moon from edge to edge. I've cropped out a little bit of the screen on this zoom here just to get the moon as big as possible on screen, but I'll give you an idea of the field of view. That's the chip there, so that gives you an idea of how it sits on the chip. Not really much much of a gap from top to bottom. It just fills the chip there perfectly. So I think this would be maybe a really good way to look at the lunar eclipse tomorrow night, I think. But let's go to 100% so you can see what it does look like on the chip. And I've focused in there pretty well, I think. I've got the Q-Focuser electronic focuser on. Now the F number is F4 now with the reducer, and the non-native focal length is 300 millimeters with the reducer. So pretty nice. Let's go back to about 30%, which gives a good, not 300%. Let's go 30. There we go. Now we get that beautiful full view. I'm going to read chat and have another sip of wine here. Yes, South Asia, it will be visible, and it looks like we got clear weather here in Australia, which is good. Eduardo, this is SharpCap software, which is pretty good actually. It's so good that I pay the annual license every year. Darkstar will be recording the lunar eclipse from Hamburg at his time, which is the same time thereabouts as us. I assume it just will drift, the shadow will drift over. 8:30 p.m. is a much more forgiving time for you than 3:30 a.m. in the morning for me. Yari's doing it from Finland. Mostly clear skies in Newcastle, New South Wales. Yeah, it was terrible today, all today. But it's cleared up tonight. It's probably not good enough for deep space, but I'm not doing deep space tonight. Thought I'd requisition the telescope for this lunar stuff. G'day to Norway. Star Stuff 4 is not something that I have on the cards for this year. As you might have seen in my last video, I've got a job, and that's a job on top of the business that I already own, and on top of the YouTube stuff that I already do. Because I love money, and now I'm making more of it, which is good. And Star Stuff cost a lot of money. It made a bit of money too. It wasn't a losing proposition, but it took a lot of time. So you know, I love the Star Stuff brand. I love the concept. I love what we do. I think compared to a lot of other conferences I've been to, I think Star Stuff is my personal favorite. Of course, I'm biased, but I would love to do it again when the time permits. But yeah, it's not going anywhere. Has anyone tried Blur Exterminator on the moon? No, I have tried it with solar though, and things get super kooky super fast because that data is trained, that AI is trained on deep space stuff. It just does some very odd stuff to what you're expecting. So crater patterns and solar granulation just looks super weird. I am not sculling this demo. This is a quality wine that does not deserve to be sculled. It deserves to be sipped and appreciated. But you know, points for trying. Weather is shit in Perth, which is a change. It's been really good in Perth the last little while. My brother lives over there, so I do catch up. You have had a dip in the weather though, haven't you? Hey Tim, thanks for watching the videos, mate. Yeah, SharpCap Pro is a no-brainer. I agree. It's just it just sort of fills a gap when you don't want to use. You know, Nina is slow when you're trying to do planetary or lunar or solar. You want something. You want to get that high frame rate up and that high read speed, and SharpCap does that really well, and then has a bunch of controls on top of it. And like a huge set of these really arcane tools. Like we could live stack the moon if we wanted to. Oh, it's run out of memory, so maybe we can't. But it does have these sorts of features in it. I actually crashed SharpCap. Let me. I actually crashed SharpCap by trying to do a live stack. It just made a liar out of me. Probably because I got Nina open and a bunch of other stuff. All right, let's reconnect. So you can see the whole process here. So connecting to the camera, hopefully it's saved all my settings because it lost all my settings. And oh well, we're starting from the start. I'll show you how to process a live moon, hey? I'm going to pull this exposure down because it's way too much. And the cameras, all cameras are biased towards green because on the pixel matrix you have RGB and there's always an extra one to make 2 by 2 pixels, right? So it's usually RGGB. So because of that, I will always pull down the green balance. But I found that this, let me pull the screen across here so you can see the settings that I'm working with. On these red, green and blue sliders here, I find these work best at around 100. And then I will do my adjustment where I will pull down the green and pull up the blue just to correct for both the atmospheric sky conditions and the green pixel bias on the camera. I'll pull down that exposure a bit more to get a more natural, even dynamic range. Give it a bit more blue. Give it a bit less green. And I like that. I like that. That's looking good. I could probably even just pump it up a little bit more, the exposure. But that's nice. I can see the edge of the shadow. Nothing's overexposed in this view. So yeah, sharp cap, definitely a good investment, I reckon. Now I'll pull this back over again so we get a proper view, and I think we can go full screen as well, just to squeeze out a little more room here and put it about 33%. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Maybe go a bit more. Let's go 40. It's a bit big. Oh well, 33% will do. All right, what was I doing before I crashed sharp cap in front of everyone? Let me catch up on chat here. Gosh, there's a lot of people. 80 of you here. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's a rare live stream. Have I seen any Starlinks? All the time. It's getting to the point now, especially if you're pointed at certain areas of the sky along the geobelt, where Starlinks, and especially if you're doing long exposures, like if you're getting up to several minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes, there's a Starlink in almost every shot. It doesn't make a huge difference in processing. You can process them out, but especially when you're over the side of the sky where the sun has just set and you get that reflection off the Starlinks, then yeah, there's just lots of Starlinks everywhere. Charty's not drinking yet. Get on it, mate. Come on. It's and yeah, ooh, moon, but what else can I do when the moon is stealing the show like this, the attention whore that it is? You can't help but do some lunar because there's nothing else to do. And I'll take a photo and maybe process it up before the night's end. This is I find I get better moon shots with a proper DSLR camera. Like you've got that nice granular control with a DSLR, but you can, you know, do your video stacking and stuff with these sorts of planetary cameras. But I really liked the results I was getting with my DSLR, and the C925 was a really good combo. G'day from Bigger Valley. G'day Dean. 50% chance with the clouds tomorrow night. Yeah. How many drinks already? This is my first one. I'm just cracking the seal right now. The Hiker Dad, it's good to see you all get nice eclipse like we had here in North America in March. Yeah, and the eclipses will happen in bunches. So there is another eclipse in March. So even if you guys do miss this with the timing or the clouds or whatever, there'll be another chance, hopefully, for you soon. Looks like clear skies for Adelaide. Costas asks, am I am I imaging at C14? And you mean with the C14, the Celestron 14-inch, my beautiful big baby? I'm having some troubles with spacing right now. I'm trying to rejig the image train to use the F7 focal reducer, and that is causing me a little bit of grief because everything is M54 now with my Esatto robotic focuser and the new camera, the ZWO Duo 2600 Duo, and I just don't have the right extension tubes, and I keep ordering some and then I don't have quite enough, or I don't have the right ones, and then I got to order again. So it's just a process of me sorting out my image train. But it's really frustrating not to be able to use, you know, tens of thousands of dollars worth of observatory and equipment and telescope and cameras and mount, all because of these little $12 spaces. So once I sort out these bastards, I'll be back with the C14. Have I captured planet Neptune? No, I don't think I've done Neptune. I think I did Uranus because you know, everyone's done Uranus. But I have not done Neptune, but I did watch in 1987, I believe it was, when the satellite went past Neptune, and I was a young boy, and this is before the internet, so we had to go somewhere where the satellite broadcast was happening live from NASA. And so I was up at like 2 in the morning watching this live stream from NASA, so I got to see the first views of Neptune up close as Voyager went past, and I will never forget that. So Neptune has a special place in my heart, but always Uranus does too. Alan saw me at Vastrock a few weeks ago. Good to see you there, Alan. That was fun. That was really fun, and I went out drinking with your president afterwards, which was also fun, and Dwayne's always good value. Cloudy in Tasman for Simon, but he's drinking a Taylor's Shiraz. Always a good, you know, you never go wrong with a Taylor's, do ya? Celestial Photons, hey from China. Hello China, good to see you here. Love you guys. I get all my stuff from China, so it's let's keep up the good relationship. Plane 91 says just scored a Canon 60 full frame for $300. Wow, 61. So I got the 62, which I love, but yeah, 61 for 300 is good. For that sort of money, you'd almost be brave enough to take off the IR filter and modify it, because that's not a lot of money. Though I'd probably pay someone to do it because I'd mess it up. Athol says first clear night. But the Sea Star's having a sleep tonight. Yeah, it's a bit of effort for me to take out the equipment. You've got no excuse because it's a Sea Star, right? That's meant to be easy. So no excuse for you. No gold star for you. It's meant to be a smart telescope that does it all for you. I had to put this all together myself, which was fine. You know, I just moved it from one room to the other and played with spaces and got a camera on it. There is Nina running in the background, which is how I framed it up. So Nina's controlling the mount. EQ mod lets me move it around. It's just a rough polar alignment, nothing too major. And as you can see, we've got a little bit of cloud here, but it's they're scattered tonight. It's going to be clear, which is good. G'day from the UK. Are you judging the New Zealand astrophotography competition this year? I haven't heard. I don't think so. It was a real honour to judge that competition 2 years in a row, especially after such other great judges. I have a huge imposter syndrome. You know, even just having my name on lists with some of those guys. That was fun. I liked the New Zealand one. They were so gracious and such a cool club, and you guys have great members. Thanks for watching the stream, CJ. Have I tried more imaging with the spectroheliograph? I did one just last week. There wasn't a huge amount of action going on the sun, and I didn't focus it in as tightly as I would have liked. But it's still mounted on the C14, dual mounted, so I'm going to do that as, you know, whenever I have a clear morning, because it's best to do that sort of stuff in the morning. A good view of the sea of showers. G'day, do you happen to like Bundy rum? You know, I think of Bundy rum and I think of Queensland, our Bogan brothers to the north, and I love my Bogan brothers to the north. Bundy, I feel, is like it's that kind of alcohol that's associated with violence. Like, I feel like you have a Bundy and you go get in a punch up or something. It's just that kind of alcohol. I don't mind a rum though, generally, and spirits. Like, spirits are good. I do like a good spirit. Yes, the moon is an attention whore. It's erasing everything else in the sky, so we may as well look at it, right? Cloudy for the eclipse for Dave's story. Have I checked the International Occultation Timing Association? Yeah, it's pretty interesting that those guys have so much extra data to work with these days because of the Gaia catalogs. And the Gaia catalogs have unlocked a huge amount of science that people can do with occultation timing, because we have such precise data about where the stars are, where asteroids are, their exact position and their motion over time as well. Because the Gaia data mapped the whole of the visible solar system and then did it again and again and again and again over a period of years. Gaia's finished now, but we still have another data drop which will come down as well. So it's not occultation timing is not science that I personally get into, but it is an exciting field, and I think I have a little bit more to learn about generating light curves and just doing basic light curve stuff before I go down that route. But yeah, it's all based on the same kind of stuff, right? Monitoring the position of stars, monitoring light curves, and that kind of photometry, which is great. Smokey said, let's get drunk, way ahead of you. Yeah, thanks, Smokey. Cheers. Small fun fact, the moon is the wrong, wrong side up in Australia. You know, I didn't even think about the orientation of the moon when I put everything together tonight, but that is more or less correct. That is how we see it here with Tycho at the top. Clouds have erased it. Ooh, that's a big one. It'll be back in a sec. It's not a big cloud. I can go shout at the clouds in a moment if it really gets bad. But look like it's barely still there through the clouds. Allergic to alcohol. Have to settle for hot black currant juice. No, you can settle for heroin or something else. You know, you don't have to settle for tea. Look up the moon from Kingman AZ for some unusual views of the moon. Okay, I'll do that later. Have I ever tried to capture the IS of the Chinese space station? I haven't tried the Tiangong space station, but I have a few images of the ISS. And one of the first real big boosts to my channel and my my Instagram and my overall profile as an astronomer was a viral image that I took of the space station, and that was such a cool time. It was the first real success that I'd ever had with astronomy, capturing the space station going past the moon and doing it and processing the image in such a way that resonated so nicely with so many people. And the image went around the world. It went to TV channels, it went to the space station itself. Commander Chris Hadfield saw it. People were retweeting it from the space station, which was kind of very recursive. It got an APOD for me and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with that. But I haven't done it lately because I haven't really found an email alert system. If you guys know of one, please tell me one. I know there are websites where you can check for transits, ISS Transit Finder and stuff, but I'd never have the discipline to go back and check every week. Whereas the old system that I had, which was great, used to email me and just let me know when there was one happening from my backyard, which was great. Will I be streaming on Sunday? Yeah, this is a test stream for the eclipse. So I haven't really decided whether I'm going to wake up that early, but I wanted to make sure that the streaming software configuration was fine. I wanted to make sure my audio was okay, and I wanted to make sure the view of the moon was worth it. I have a smaller guide scope I could have used on the C14, which is also color, but it just wouldn't have been quite as nice as a view as this. To see the shadow of the moon go over at this field of view, I think would be really nice. So I'm pretty happy as a test. This test stream certainly gives me some inspiration to get up and do the lunar eclipse tomorrow. G'day Caleb, good to see you, buddy. Hope the Astro Society in the Gold Coast is going well. Caleb is the president of the Astro Society that I go to up here. Wine is my favorite fruit, and make sure you have 3 fruits a day. Yeah, I'll be having at least 3 of these fruits today. Pathmetic Jan has a vanilla latte, which is fine. Maybe it's AM where you are and you can't start drinking until PM, otherwise people think you have a problem. But you know, you do you. Does it ever get boring having a mount point so accurately? No, I love that mount. It's the best thing. This mount that I'm on now, I've just chucked on the deck, so you can see that the moon is floating away. Even though I am tracking at a lunar speed, I do position it back in, just slew it back in occasionally. But for a rough polar alignment, like I just plopped it on the ground and I just sort of looked where I know that the South Celestial Pole is and hoped for the best, and I think it's doing fine. It's not too bad. Hey, thanks for the super, Jan. That's great. Have a wonderful, my mate, from the Pittsburgh Paramedics. Cheers. I will. That's very kind of you. Thank you. You know, nobody has to donate, by the way. I don't need it. It's just very, very nice when it happens. So thank you, Jan. Did I get one with the ISS with the 14 yet? No. The 14 has such a tight field of view. You'd have to line up with a planetary cam. You'd have to line up the space station to the crater to get it in frame. However, I am working on getting the reducer on the C14 for doing deep space stuff. So I'll be shooting at a pretty tight field of view still, but not as tight as the native focal length of almost 4 meters, which is insane. And it works fine, and I like shooting that way, but I would like a little bit faster, a little more forgiving field of view as well. Just reading the chat here. Hey, it's my mate Grimsentide. Hey, how does your APOD from a few years back compare to your more recent work? I still like that original shot, and I don't enter APOD regularly anymore, but if I take one that I think is cool, then I put it through. The APOD competition for deep space is obviously way more competitive than it is for solar events or lunar events, or sometimes they'll put in a really nice sunset or a weather event even. But deep space is something I've been concentrating on, so the competition for that is a lot more, and people do very deep integrations. If you do a really deep integration over months and months, you're more likely to get an APOD, which is not something I tend to do. But I think I've improved over time. But that one ISS shot was definitely a bit of skill and a bit of luck. Right place, right time, right equipment. It was just, everything worked that night. And thankfully, it was in focus, because it's very easy to be out of focus on stuff like that. It's just hard to know until it goes across. What's my most memorable astronomical event? Stefan says it was the 2001 Leonid meteor storm, and I saw that storm, and that was memorable. I was talking to someone about this the other day, and it's really interesting when you find someone else who saw that too, because meteor showers come and go. They happen every month, every year. They're not rare at all. They happen all the time. But this one Leonid meteor shower in 2001, it was spectacular. It was really, really good. I was sitting on the roof of my house in Albury Wodonga when I was living there, and I saw that. It was incredible. but it wasn't my most memorable. My most memorable is Comet McNaught, which was just insane, and I got to see it night after night over several nights. I photographed it. I got it on the front page of the local newspaper. I was driving in my four-wheel drive over the snowy mountains one of those days, so I got to see it from one of the highest points in Australia as well, and it just blew my mind. That is the best comet of our generation. I'll say that. North or South Hemisphere, that was the comet of our generation so far. I don't think anyone's seen anything like that for years, hundreds of years. So that was brilliant. Jan's on duty. Well, if I pass out, just call 911 or something. No, don't swap me. I'll be fine. Caleb's got a meeting next week. I'll see if I can come. Wine from a water glass. This is not a water glass. This is a stemless wine glass. It doesn't have the curve, but I have been a functional alcoholic for long enough to know that having a stemmed wine glass in the chaos of my office is a recipe for failure. And I've failed with that many, many times, and I will, for all practical alcoholic reasons, go for a stemless wine glass. So don't glass shame me, buddy. The Americans are complaining the moon is upside down. Oh, you're upside down. We're the right way up, and one of these days we'll have a politician who renames us the Northern Hemisphere, because we're actually on top. It's just all a matter of perspective. Oh, go away, Microsoft. Does the lunar eclipse look any cooler at high magnifications? Not really. I've been at high magnifications. I couldn't even fit the whole moon in on the last live stream. I had to mosaic the moon to get a full picture. I think having a full view of the full disk of the moon is definitely the way to go for this sort of stuff. Yes, Daniel, a reducer. I've got a reducer on this one and the C14 at the moment. Dylan, are you going with the Starizona RASA front? I probably will go the F2 or F1.8 or whatever it is for the C14 eventually, but I'll just get all of my high focal length stuff out of the way first, because I can do wide field anyhow. I can do wide field with a little scope. I've done RASA work before. I've done all sorts of wide field. That's easy to do. I don't need a big telescope to do wide field. Obviously, it would be very fast and very nice, and I'll do it one day. But I've got so much more high focal length stuff to do first. Yeah, it was a spectacular comet, Scott. Is this your first live stream on YouTube? No, it's not, but it is rare, isn't it? I don't do it very often. I used to stream a little bit on Twitch. I found the Twitch chat was pretty cool. They're sort of, the whole vibe of Twitch was cool as well. But I like YouTube. Like, I just like YouTube more. I think I watch more YouTube than television, really. I don't watch any free-to-air television. I haven't even logged into Netflix in months. Like, I think most of my content comes off YouTube. Just reading the chat here. Oh, thanks for mentioning the petition, Jan. If you don't know, there is a petition going in Australia for dark sky preservation, and I was really worried that that they weren't going to make it, because it was just sort of languishing there, and it's already been up for 2 weeks, and it was nowhere near its target of 10,000 signatures. So I pushed it really hard this week, and thanks for everyone who signed. But we've got that petition now up to, it's just about to hit 6,000 signatures. And we only need 10,000, and that forces our politicians to talk about legislating dark sky preservation in Australia. It doesn't guarantee that it will happen, but it will force the conversation. So I'm pretty hopeful about this one. I think, we see these petitions come and go all the time, but I've chosen to put my energy behind this one because I think it has the best wording the best chance of actually hitting the floor of Parliament soon. So fingers crossed. Let's see, catching up on chat again. If aliens landed in your backyard, will you interview them for your channel or charge them rent? If aliens landed, I'd be very excited. It would be very exciting. I would probably go into not flight, not fight, but freeze. I would probably just be petrified. And then I would ask them some questions, because I have a lot of questions. There is a bit of chatter around the possible aurora the night of the eclipse. Well, that I did hear about the solar activity. That would be pretty sweet. John is getting a bit drunk with me. Good on you, John. I'm going to just, while I catch up here, I'm just going to turn up the music. You are listening to Kaizen Blue, who is a UK producer who's been collaborating with me on videos for many years now. He's been so gracious with his music. He's given me full permission to use his music copyright free. So if you know anything about YouTube, YouTube is a copyright quagmire, and your videos can be taken down, your videos can be demonetized, your channel can be terminated at any moment because of record companies. So to have a producer willing to let me use his music on my videos like that so graciously has been amazing. So big props to Kaizen Blue. It's actually really good music too. And now I don't even know how to turn it up. Let me figure this out. Give me a sec. This is only my first drink. Not a bad little camera. It's a 4K color, tiny little chip. A pretty good detail. we landed there. Go to Tycho. Oh, that is a nice view. Let's leave it up here a little while actually, fully magnified. And we've still got a little bit of a terminator. Just the last 3% of the moon there in the shadows, so we've got some crater detail. Yeah, so shout out to Kaizen Blue for the background music on this stream. Legend of a guy. We've collaborated on a few tracks, so sometimes I'll play guitar as well. You know, I started using his music in my videos. He liked the videos and he likes space, and so he started writing songs about space with a real space kind of vibe as well. And then he started inviting me to play. God damn it, Microsoft. There we go. And then he started to invite me to play guitar on some of those tracks as well. So some of his songs have me on them as well. So it's been a really nice collaboration over the years. Congratulations on the C14, Robert. John, in my cup is the round 2 Barossa Valley Merlot. I do like a heavy red. And that's for you too, Andrew Willem, asking what I'm drinking. Not drinking fast enough because I'm flapping my lips here. But you know, I like talking to you guys, so it's very rare that we get together on a live stream like this. Thanks for tuning in on a cruisy Saturday evening here in Australia. Why the stream tonight? Yeah, Chris, this is a test. This is just a test to see if my view of the moon through my little telescope would be okay, and I think it's going to be good. Yeah, I think I've got a nice view, a nice field of view, and so if this is okay, I'll do this again tomorrow. But we'll see. I got to work on Monday morning, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm brave enough to do it. I'd love to. The pixel size of the C1 pixel size of the the 715C QHY camera is 1.5 micrometers or whatever it is, on that one. So pretty small little pixels, really. What Alan asks, what was my favorite astro-related place that I've been to? You know, the first thing that comes to mind is just the shuttles. Like, I've visited 3 of the 4 shuttles so far. The first one I think was Columbia or Atlantis in Florida, and then I got to see the other one in LA, and the only one I haven't seen is Discovery in Washington, and I really want to see Discovery because Discovery was my favorite. Discovery was the one that put the Hubble up, so I'm really keen to see Discovery, but I'm not keen to travel to America anytime soon because I'm brown. I don't want to get hauled away and thrown into a foreign prison for no reason, which happens there now. What's the ugly grey thing doing getting in the way of my stars? Yeah, I know, right? It just takes up the whole sky like it bloody owns the joint. It's just ridiculous. But when life gives you lemons, you image them. Tycho crater looks a bit blown out, you reckon? We can always drop the exposure a bit to get a little more detail there. It was perhaps a little bit overdone, so hopefully that's better for you. Avantish, thank you. Clavius is one of my favorite craters. Yeah, the craters in craters in craters. Recursive craters, also mentioned in 2001 A Space Odyssey as the crater where the monolith appeared, which set off the whole series of events. Although it didn't appear, did it? It was inside the crater and was discovered when they were excavating or something. But Clavius, I'm trying to remember where it is. It's up here on the side somewhere. I don't know if this particular setup is good enough to see them, but I feel like they're somewhere, it's somewhere over in that right hand side there, Clavius. Nerbson, just joined, thanks for all the videos. Yeah, thanks man. How do you trace guide the moon? I'm not really guiding, it's just kind of basic polar alignment, and I slew it if it drifts out, but it's pretty well stable because my mount was already polar aligned from previous uses, so I just picked it up and put it on the deck, and I kind of knew where it should be pointing. That's good enough for lunar. So yeah, not guiding at all. Have I tried a Nikon P900? No. I kind of like the philosophy of more glass the better. So, so bigger telescopes, bigger lenses. You know, I like doing the moon with a big lens, whether that's a telescope or whatever. Those little cameras, smartphones, they have very, very small pixels. They have a lot of post-processing, and they ultimately physically have very, very small amounts of glass or plastic even for the lens, which really degrades the image, I find. So yeah, they can pull out some stuff, and some camera operators are cheating these days with filling in the blanks with AI and stuff. So yeah, give me a big lens and lots of glass any day. Sitting you here with a nice Baader Havane single malt. Ooh, single malt whiskey, nice. Stay up tonight, go to bed early tomorrow, get up Monday. Yeah, that's right. Nice surprise having a live stream from Dylan while sitting editing. Nice, Paul. Good luck with your edits. Thanks for joining in and saying g'day. Bit early for a drink in the UK. Yeah, it probably is. People will suspect you have a problem if you start drinking this early, but you can always keep it on the quiet. Enjoying a quiet ale. Love your vids, but I stay up when I'm teaching year 7 the next day, so harden up. Yeah, maybe I will harden up. I'll see if I can pull out a live stream tomorrow. We could do this all again, but with an actual lunar eclipse, which would be great. Watching someone drink while having breakfast is awesome. Do you like Nutella? I'm allergic to Nutella because I'm allergic to milk, which is really possibly proof that God exists and he hates me or she hates me because I love chocolate and I love cheese and particularly cheese. And I would eat a whole block of cheese if I wasn't allergic to it. Cheers, Dylan. Sharing a beer with you. Cheers, Frack Centurion. What telescope you own you use the least often? Right now it's the RASA. It's the RASA 11, which was the one I used the most at one point. And I will again, I think, unless I go Hyperstar on the C14. But it kind of led me down that path, right, of just bigger scopes. But it's not because I don't like it. It's just because I've got like other scopes that I'm rotating through now. California Science Center was always cool. Yeah. I got to go there and it was awesome. I love the particle cloud detectors. I always love that wherever it is. I got to see a few of them over the years. That's maybe my favorite science experiment, the particle detectors. But yeah, seeing the shuttle was yeah, I mean the shuttle was our childhood, right? For people of my age, you know, we missed Apollo, but we grew up on the shuttles. And now the kids these days, they got their Dragons and they got Starship, and that's fine. But the shuttles were cool, man. They were a thing. I loved the original NASA logo, the missions. Like I loved staying up late watching a launch on free-to-air television. Shuttles were great. Midday drinking in Scotland while watching the moon. G'day, John McBride. Nothing like a bit of day drinking, especially on the weekend, eh? That's what it's for. The moon is white, while the town is red. Thank you, David. Learned a bit from my videos, so thank you. Thanks for watching. I wish I got into astrophotography, but I fear being poor. You know, I don't want to lie to people, but it is an expensive hobby. You know, there are other expensive hobbies. You know, people spend a lot of money on their cars. People spend a lot of money on boats and all sorts of stuff. And I get it. If you have an expensive hobby, like stuff like flying, like if you're a pilot on the weekends and stuff, like those hobbies can take up a lot of money. Astronomy probably not as full on as some of those kinds of hobbies, but your results are definitely improved by spending more money. And there is, you know, a lot of people will try and sugarcoat it with budget astronomy, because you can do some good stuff with budget astronomy. The rig I'm using now is fairly budget, but when I say budget, it's at least like $2 or $3 grand. Like, it's still a significant investment in stuff. That's not including the computer itself. And they say you shouldn't buy your way out of problems, but my God, I've bought my way out of loads of problems. I don't mind spending money to get the job done, and for buying better stuff that's going to serve your astrophotography better. And when you get obsessed with astrophotography, you become a pixel peeper yourself. You're looking at your stars, you're looking at the results, and you're doing everything you can to improve the results at a pixel level. And yeah, sometimes that involves spending quite a bit of money. So budget astronomy is satisfying, especially for solar and lunar. You can get away with budget for those. But you can go down the rabbit hole and you can spend a freaking lot of money on this hobby. And so it's probably best not to treat it competitively like some people do as well. Some people get really into the awards and the competitions and like trying to outdo other people. And I've never felt that I'm trying to do that. I've always felt like all I'm trying to do is take a better picture of this target this year than I did last year. And what can I do to improve that? Is it something in my process, or is it a bit of gear that I need to level up? Yeah. Oh, Robert got to watch the Apollo launch live in person. That is insane, dude. That would have been fundamental. Are humans going to land back on that thing anytime soon? I wonder. I really wonder too, man. I don't think Elon is anywhere close to Mars. He can't even make a car properly drive itself on Earth, let alone Mars. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Charlie's paused Astro for sim racing. You know what else? You know what else is expensive? You know what other hobby is expensive? Guitars. That has taken a fair bit of my money as well. So I swivel between spending money on my telescopes or my guitars. Most just wind up spending money on women, but the upgrade path is a bit, yeah, well, you know, takes a certain kind of woman. Yeah, that's a good philosophy, hologram. Hologram 2-pack. To get the best out of your existing gear before upgrading anything. And a lot of people told me that I shouldn't have bought a Schmidt-Cassegrain because it was a lot of telescope for a beginner, but I have to say I learned a lot taming that telescope and trying to get it to do the things that I wanted it to do. And you know, trying to guide as a beginner, trying to polar align as a beginner with that much of a telescope was a journey. But it made me a better astrophotographer in the long run. Caleb says there's no way around physics. You can't buy a big scope with little money and you simply don't have the physics to resolve anything with a small lens. That's exactly right, Caleb. There can still be a lot of joy out of budget stuff, and it's good to do because there are some things that you can kind of get away with on a budget, like Widefield and Milky Way stuff, and you're concentrating on certain aspects. But when you start going down some of the specialty stuff, like high focal length solar or deep space astro, yeah, then money matters. Charties, what guitar do you have? Have all the Aussies sign the petition? Yeah, I should probably mention the petition again, and I should probably link it because if you're Australian and if you're in the chat right now and you haven't signed this petition, ooh, we've hit 6,100 on the petition. That's incredible. I can't believe it. We've more than doubled the signatures on the dark sky legislation petition since my first time I shared it about 3 days ago, which is awesome. But basically, if you're Australian, please sign this petition. It just forces the government to have a chat about whether they could save a bunch of money by turning off the lights or just having a little bit more control over the lighting in general, pulling down that light at night so that they can save money. It's not about astro so much. Obviously it benefits us as astronomers, but for the politicians, and if we're ever going to have a chance of having a better view of the Milky Way, it will be because politicians want to save money. And that's why this is worded this way. And I think it's really good. So we are doing well. I can't believe we're at 6,000. We're way past the halfway mark. We only need 4,000 in the next 2 weeks, little under 2 weeks now. So thank you for everyone who signed. I'm not like an activist. I don't like pushing things on people. I don't even like you know, pushing products and stuff on you guys. I have sponsors and I have products that I love to use, and I will sing their praises to the rooftops. But I'm not an activist, and I don't want to push my music. I don't want to push anything on to anyone. So I don't often get behind something, but I am getting behind this petition. I think it's worded exactly right for what we're trying to achieve. I think it's going to be good for society. I think it's going to be good for everyone, not just astronomers. And I thoroughly believe it would be good if they, you know, ever pull their finger out and make it work, which will require some political will. But hopefully the money thing is the way to do it. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Can I pin that link? Oh, yeah, I can. Oh, maybe I didn't realize I could ping links. I'll post it again with some context. Where is your favourite place in Australia to do astronomy? You know, I reckon the best place in Australia to do astronomy would be Pine Gap, the US secret intelligence base in the middle of Australia, because they chose that place because of the very, very low interference from light and electromagnetic interference, so that they can spy on all of your communications and intercept all the messages from all around the world and through space. So Pine Gap, that would be my best location for setting up a new observatory site in Australia. But second to that would just be my backyard, because I can walk to my backyard. I can drink while I do astronomy, and I'm very, very lazy. Chardies, did you tell me what guitar you were playing? Chapman ML3? I don't. Is that what you mean? I'm not familiar. Frax in the high country in Victoria. In Coonabarabran, they actively direct streetlights down towards the ground, which is good, and work on minimising light pollution. It can be done and works out well for all. Yeah. And I think especially on highways that are out in the middle of nowhere, you don't need streetlights at all, because you can have reflectors all across the road, and as long as you have a headlight on, which you legally have to have the headlights, you can see where you're going. I don't understand why there are any streetlights out where there are no people whatsoever. If there's a road with reflectors on it, you can see where you're going all the time. So I don't think you even need downward pointing lights for that sort of thing, just reflectors. But you're right, just having them point downwards at all would be nice. If you're just joining us, there's 100 people on stream, which is amazing. We've been up for a while now. At least, has it been an hour? I'm just flapping my gums here, having a drink of red wine with me and all my friends here in chat. We are looking at a full live view of the moon, and we are listening to Kaizen Blue, a electronic lo-fi creator out of the UK, who I've collaborated with in the past, but he does fantastic work. The moon is at 97% phase right now, and this is a test run because tomorrow night when it hits 100%, it will be the total lunar eclipse here in Australia and for many parts of the world, as the shadow of the Earth moves over the moon, turning it into an actual blood moon, as they say. And I think of all the stupid descriptions of the moon, like supermoon and sturgeon moon and blue moon, blood moon is the only one that actually makes sense, because the moon actually does go red. So I will give them that. You can call the moon a blood moon because it actually does go red. All the other names are from the Farmer's Almanac, which are mostly about seasons and animals and planting and stuff like that. Supermoon is ridiculous, micromoon is ridiculous, black moon is ridiculous. Blood moon, I'll give you the blood moon, because the moon actually does go red, and it is fucking awesome to see as well. We are going back into a lunar eclipse season, so we'll get it tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, and we'll get it again in March as well, and I think maybe another one after that, but I haven't checked the date on that one. Emma asks, serious question, would you ever run for politics to help change light pollution, local council or even state politics? Premier Dylan Monday. Emma, honestly, I don't think I could, because I've been too transparent about my very abrasive personality, and I make a lot of inappropriate jokes, and I am a functional alcoholic. I don't think I'd ever make a good politician. I'm just not, I'm not a role model enough to be a politician. But you might be interested to know that I do actually work in government currently. So yeah, I do have some soft activism, and the only soft activism I have is this dark sky stuff. I don't pitch it to anyone at work though. It's got nothing to do with them. It's all to do with us and we the people being able to pitch a good idea, and maybe one day they'll understand it in terms of money. John says he's currently playing an Ibanez Gem 77 FBF. That's great, John. My guitar, you might have noticed, is also an Ibanez, and it is a Tim Henson signature series with the Tree of Death inlay and glow-in-the-dark fret markers and a whammy and Fishman Fluence pickups, and it is stunning. I love this thing. I might even drunkenly play it for you before I end this stream, but right now I'm drinking, so I can't do both. I'm sorry I'm not keeping up with chat. I'm sorry if I don't get to everyone, but I will try. Scott is wasting his house deposit on all of his hobbies. Look, you need to get a house. It's important. It's important in this generation, my God. But I understand it because I have been balancing trying to buy a house and spending my money on hobbies too. But I must say, aim for that house, my brother. Charlie started learning during COVID. Yeah, nice. Caleb can't be effed with this eclipse. He's done enough in the last 5 years. Sounds like you've got you're having a bit of an overdose, Caleb, which I get. Space fatigue, astro fatigue happens to us all. Sometimes you just need to sit back, have a drink, and play some guitar. Super Blood Wolf Harvest Sturgeon Moon. That's exactly right. Is it super as well? I know Harvest was last month. No, Harvest is now. Sturgeon was last month. Is that right? I think it's one of the two. And Wolf, I think, was a couple of months before that, or coming up maybe. My older brother Mark worked near Pine Gap as a career for older peeps. He always said they kept running over speed bumps. Oh my God. Yeah, it would be a bit Mad Max out there. It is, but it is dark. The perfect poly. Hit the gain up on the camera. We'll capture the blood moon. You know, it's funny when the blood moon happens. I have to play with all of these settings quite rapidly because the exposure and the light coming from the moon changes really rapidly. It is very hard to do a proper time lapse because you have to adjust as the shadow starts coming over. You won't get the red until you do boost that gain, as you say. So when it is in totality, you want to change the settings so that you make sure that you can see the color as well. Freebird is one I do have to learn. I'm not a huge shredder, but everyone loves Freebird. I wouldn't call any politician a role model. Don't get me wrong, I got a house before the market went crazy. Good, Scott. Yeah, I'm glad I got a house, and that's why I've got an observatory, right? Because house first, then observatory. That's the natural progression. It's the natural order of things. I noticed you're on the red wine. Do you enjoy the stone and wood I left on your veranda? Yes, John, thank you so much for that. That was a very kind gesture. Obviously, I drank every last skerrick of the stone and wood you gave me. I do love stone and wood. I am, especially in the colder months, I am a red drinker. Especially love the really thick, heavy reds like Merlots, Cab Merlots, stuff like that. I can't stand Pinot Noir and those light ones. But yeah, thanks for the stone and wood. I go through the beers when it's really hot. If it's really hot and I'm sweating bullets, there's nothing like a beer, just slamming them down. Why the contrast on the moon? Dark's bit so dark. You'd have thought the deep craters still get blasted by sunlight. Well, you know, the way the moon looks and the way the craters looks really changes when it gets into this full, because suddenly it stops casting shadows anymore. We can see a few shadows on the right hand side of the moon, which is great, but the contrast here is actually pretty minimal. If I pull the contrast back, you can see we lose the darkness of the sky, and if I pull it in, then we start losing detail around the edge. So I think the contrast here, about here, is really the highest dynamic range we're going to get before we lose detail either in the black or the white. Yes, I am using Sharp. Oh god damn it, Microsoft, I hate you. You know, I have to use Microsoft a lot at work, and I never use Microsoft at home unless I'm playing Fortnite. It's so bad, and now I have to use it in a corporate environment. I just wish everyone used Macs. Okay, catching up on chat here. Sorry, it's thick and fast. Have you ever seen a total solar eclipse? You know, that is still on my bucket list. I have not had the pleasure. However, there is one coming to Sydney in a couple of years, 3 years. And there's one coming to my house in 7 years. So I'll be old, but that's, I bet you it's cloudy that day. I bet you it's cloudy. Blue Moon by Tommy Emmanuel. I will write that down. Thank you, The Boy Can Play, because I love hearing about songs that are about space, but aren't too dorky. Like, we all know about Space Cowboy and you know, David Bowie, Life on Mars, like the classics. But I love hearing about new artists or more modern contemporary artists doing songs about space. Like Dizzy Rascal does a song called Space, which is awesome. It's got heaps of drug references and stuff, but it's about you know, getting high and going to space. So if you have any suggestions, chat, for songs that are space themed, but they are from more modern contemporary musicians, I am all about it. Please drop them in the chat. Kyle has noticed that the moon appears upside down. Yes, this is the right way, Kyle. You are upside down. The brown note, hey? What are great places in Australia landscape-wise? You know, apart from the cities, everywhere has its own unique kind of flora, fauna, landscape. It's all pretty flat. Most of Australia is flat, I would say. But like going to Western Australia is like being in a different country than Eastern Australia. Yeah. You can find waterfalls, you can find rainforests. Up here, there's all sorts of bluffs and subtropical rainforests, cliffs, beaches. You've got the interior with the red sand, and the red sand is red for the same reason that Mars is red, because of iron oxide in the sand, oxidization over time, and then each corner of the country you go to has a completely different kind of landscape. It's like different countries. John has a preference for Shiraz. I do love a good Shiraz. Beer, bourbon and Shiraz, 3 go-tos, yep. What's your government job? I would tell you, Shane, but then I'd have to kill you. So I'm not going to tell you. A bit over 100 kilometers away. Are you only 100 kilometers away, Scott? Nothing but cloud. Well, I'm hoping we don't get that tomorrow night, but I think we're going to be good. It's really nice to see this view of the moon tonight. We had a bit of cloud through before, but it's really kind of cleared up. I think it's going to clear up over the next few days as well. I might just zoom in a bit because we'll be looking at the full disk for a little while. You can probably tell I'm getting a little more inebriated as this stream goes on. So thanks for keeping me company, my dudes. This has been a long time coming. It's been a long time between streams here. I'm just trying to get the moon off my face, and that's a good view, I think. That's beautiful. Bad moon rising. Greetings from Canada. G'day, Kev. Trucker Kev. That's the most Aussie name I've ever heard. Big fan here. I've done imaging for the night. Shooting the Veil, nice. Anything in the northern hemisphere you could shoot. And you'd love Carina. I agree. Carina is like, it's been my favorite target for a long time, at least 10 years since I started getting into this. I do love a lot of our dark nebulas, and there's a lot of dark nebulas that get overlooked over here, but the one dark nebula that I really love on your side of the world is the Iris Nebula. And you've got a lot of showy nebula, like the North American Nebula and California and Heart and Soul and stuff like that. But every time I see Iris, I'm like, ooh, I'd love to do that one. I love the fact that there's no emission nebula in it. It's just reflection nebula, and it's got a lot of that dust and gas in it, which I think is just spectacular. So that's my pick for if I was in the Northern Hemisphere, that's what I would do. Oh, we got some suggestions. To the Moon and Back by Savage Garden. Yeah, I don't think my hipster sensibilities would let me add Savage Garden to the Star Stuff playlist, just because. But I do know that one of the lead singers, I think it's Darren, his sister is an astrophysicist. So he is well known in the astro community as well. So shout out to Savage Garden. At least he knows what he's talking about. Goodbye Milky Way and Sitting on the Moon by Enigma. Okay, I have not tried those ones. Extra points if they actually say the words, because Enigma's very like atmospheric music. Greetings from Germany, Brazil. G'day Robson. Shane says he's with the ATO, so can't be worse than that. No, it's not that bad. But hey, we both work in government. There you go. So we're all familiar with the what would you call it? The golden cage, I guess. I don't mind it. Greg says Sydney and clear. Maybe Roxanne Police. What did Roxanne do that's space related? Why I Love the Moon by Phony People. I've never heard of the band or the song. I'll have to check that out, Kyle. Thank you very much. Oh, Scott's just further up the coast. Just around the corner in Australia terms. When will you try the filter combination blue, oxygen, oxygen, blue, sulfur 2? So BOO, like boo? Is that the... So B mapped to red, blue mapped to red, oxygen mapped to green, and then oxygen and blue sulfur as a 50-50 mix for blue? Is that what you're saying? I've never heard of that combination before, Robson, but it sounds interesting. Do you have an experience with the ASI 294? I have a 294, not the ASI ZWO version, but I have the QHY version, and it has a lot of amp glow, but if you correct for that with calibration frames, it's still a very, very capable camera. You have to take more frames than normal, but as long as you take enough lights and you stack enough data, some of the best images I've taken were with the 294 as well. I definitely rate it, apart from that amp glow and the noise profile is a bit high, but it's fine. If you get enough data, you can do a lot of work with the 294. Good night, Frack. Thanks for tuning in. Any thoughts on the new Optolong LCD filter? You know, as someone who shoots monochrome exclusively, not really. I'm not really. I haven't even tried a dual band filter or a light pollution filter, because my light pollution filter is pretty low, and I don't do any color. I don't do any one-shot color stuff. So, assuming it's one of those, and I don't know that it is. Nope. Hi everyone, was going to look at the moon last night, but one, it's still behind the trees for me, rising in the sky, so also cloudy. Well, good thing you've got a live stream to to get this fantastic view of the moon. I'm really happy with the little Apertura telescope doing its thing on my back deck. Excuse me for the burps and strange sounds you might be hearing through my microphone, which is gross. But you know, the title of this stream was Let's Get Drunk and Watch the Moon. So I'm doing that. Thomas, thank you for your kind words. I do try. The ray trace. Yeah, Florida must be terrible in that hurricane season. It's a bit tropical up here as well, so we have very similar kind of weather to you guys. We are, you know, my latitude is -28 and Cape Canaveral is +28. So I'm at the same point as you guys in Florida. So we get the same weather as you guys, just on the opposite time of the year. Aurora singing Life on Mars. I haven't heard that one, but I will check that out. That sounds pretty good. She's pretty cool. When the moon hits the sky like a big pizza. Astronomy by Blue Oyster Cult. Really? Okay, I'll check it out. The 585 punches well. I've heard such good things about the 585, and I have wanted one of those for Planetary for some time. G'day Anastasia. Astronomy Domain, yeah. Astronomy Domine, I think you mean, Stefan, by Pink Floyd. Fantastic. You tried the Hyperstar in the 14? Not yet. It's definitely in the pipeline. I will get there at some point. Charties, just check my weather forecast. Sleeping through it may be the only option. I'm sorry, dude. But this is the worst timed lunar eclipse for us anyway here in Australia. I'm tempted to sleep through it myself, knowing that there's going to be one in March as well. When you hit moon vids, you know you're in trouble of how to do it. Hello from Ireland. I'll not join you in drinking as it's 12:20 p.m. That's p.m. You can drink at p.m. and no one thinks you have a problem. You're absolutely fine. You have no excuse that I am thoroughly offended that you're not joining me in drinking. That's the whole point of this stream. Tears from the Moon by Koja One, sung by Sinead O'Connor. I haven't heard that. That's a great suggestion, John. Thank you. -19 to... Oh my God, Carl. Dude. Try living in Townsville, Australian Cyclone Alley. Yeah, my God. Hi from Singapore. G'day, Hubert. Catching up, cooking dinner and catching up with some bubbly. I do like to drink while I'm cooking dinner as well, because I find that it makes the eating part of dinner all that much better, because you're slightly tipsy by then. Favorite travel rig? It's got to be the one I'm on now. This is the one I've been building out for a little while on the channel over the past little while, which is the Apertura 75Q. I did the research. It's just such a cool little scope, a little refractor. Very light, very capable, very sharp images, great light gathering, beautiful image train, well constructed, heaps of features. And I pair that with the Minicam 8, the QHY Minicam 8, which has a filter wheel, and I'm just pulling out such high quality shots for such a really simple kind of setup. So that's my go-to, pun intended. Do astrophotographers in Australia use Newtonians? Yeah. Yep. There are some Newtonians. I know a few people with Newtonians. and I'm curious about using one, and maybe I will at some point. I haven't had any hands-on with the Skywatcher hack Scooby to Snacks. I have heard that it has some odd configuration issues. I'm not sure what they are specifically, but spec-wise it looks like a pretty nice setup. People getting up and having their first coffee. I thought we might have avoided the Americans because they're all asleep right now, but there are some people waking up, so we better get out of here before they come in. I don't. This is what we do in Australia. We make fun of people, and that's how we show our affection for people. So when I make fun of the Americans, it's because I like them. I've got a lot of American friends. I think of it. Star Stuff 4. I not this year. Give me a while to recover. Favorite planet to image? Easily Jupiter, hands down. Jupiter is so dynamic and so big on the chip. It's just it's very rewarding. There's a lot to look at. Any tips for a Celestron telescope that runs off an iPhone app besides throw it away? I have an Astro Phi 90 refractor that gives me the shits. Yeah, just stop using the iPhone app. I'm a big proponent of telescope is not defined by its features like phone apps and stuff like that. It's a hunk of glass and metal. You should defork that and put it on whatever you want. Put it on a proper mount. It's the mount that will give you the most joy and good times out of a telescope. And those little iPhone app stuff, they can be fun as a gimmick or to get you in. Same with smart telescopes. They're fun to play with. But eventually you want to get a little more out of the telescope and go in a little more depth about what you're doing. And that's when, you go down the rabbit hole of better mounts and stuff like that. Thanks for watching the Burnham's Life video, Drew. It's a cool book, hey. The only other books I would recommend are the Annals, it's right here on my desk, Annals of the Deep Sky series, which kind of, I consider it like a sequel to Burnham's, a modern sequel to Burnham's. Maybe not as poetic as Burnham's, but the depth of the knowledge in those books are amazing. Do you a list to make a travel? Yeah, Alan, I do have a list in all of my videos. So if you look through any of the recent videos, I have my full equipment list listed on every video. And there's a few of those specifically about the travel rig. Maybe go back and watch the one about the Skywatcher 100i mount. I think I've done 2 videos about the Skywatcher mount, because that was the last sort of big upgrade for that portable rig that I did. Costas, I am going to try a new ZWO ASA killer soon, the Tube Tech one. I'll give that a go because they've told me that it supports the QHY Minicam 8, which would make it a pretty good deal for replacing the computer for the travel rig. So I will try that one. I've just got a little bit more research to do and a little bit more setup to do. The QHY project has stalled as far as I can tell. There have been no new updates to their software, so I'm not sure what's going on in their world right now, which is a shame because that looked like it showed promise. I just need some space by Jake. Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you, Kyle. We Americans sure have a lot to be made fun of. It's nice that you're that self-aware, smart guy. I mean, I watch the American news every night just because I want to be up to date with what's going on over there, because it's pretty entertaining, I got to say. Scott has 2 Newtonians. Yeah, I know many people with Newtonians. I don't think they're that uncommon. I think a lot of people really dig them, actually. Simon has an Edge 11. Smars has a 4SE, which is a great little scope I started with. Simon wants a new lighter mount. Do check out, Simon, check out the ZWA 5N is good as far as I know, but check out the 150i Skywatcher as well. I have to say it's been the 100i has been a very good mount. G'day Kyle from Philadelphia. Cheers, having a beer with me, homie. John's in Bortle 6. We're in about Bortle 3 or 4 here at the minute. Probably Bortle 7 now with the moon. Simon asked, do I think it'll cope with the weight? Well, you can put a counterweight on the 150i, so I think it might. You'd have to check, do the measurements, but I think maybe yes. Why not a mini PC? Athanasia, the thing that I've discovered with mini PCs, at least the little NUC versions, is sometimes they don't have the full write speed if you're doing Planetary. So if you're doing DSA, there's no problems at all. But you have to make sure it has the right USB speed and disk I/O speed to handle high transfer rates for Planetary. Because if you ever want to do solar, lunar, or Planetary video work, and you want to get the highest frame rate as possible out of lipstick cameras or Planetary cameras, then that's when sometimes some mini PCs won't give you those high frame rates. G'day Tim Aishu. Hey Greg, good to see you, buddy. Econ Greg. I wasn't making fun of America, I promise. I promise, buddy. What am I drinking? I'm drinking a Merlot, and I'm just about out. So it's almost time for me to go and talk to my family, who I've been ignoring for the last couple of hours, and just watching the moon and talking to you guys, which has been nice. Hey, thanks Generic Studio Inc. for signing the petition. Anastasia's, yeah, SSD is good for if your mini PC handles those high write speeds. SSDs help there as well. Fantastic technology. Yeah, I'm glad to hear, Scott, that your friend is excited about the 150i and 100i. It's been a fantastic mount. I am duly impressed. Scooby, do you have any videos on post-processing? I do, and I have a intro to PixInsight, which I think is good for beginners, because PixInsight is a really badly designed user interface, and so that kind of guides you through that. But I haven't done a lot of processing videos in general, just because like I do what I do, and I think I'm okay at it, but I don't think, like every time anyone shares a processing video, there's always someone else who's like doing it a different way, who'll say like, you need to do it this way, or this is the right way to do it, or, you know, there's a lot of debate in processing about the right way, and I don't, for example, I don't use the batch processing. I'll do all of mine step by step, and people find that super frustrating. And when they see me using that, they're like, Dylan, why aren't you using batch processing? And it's because I'm such a control freak and I'm so anal that I want to see every step of the way, and I want to manually calibrate those frames and manually get rid of the dud frames. So I have my method, and it's not the right method, and people disagree with my method, but I get results, and so I do it my way. And I can see why some people are sheepish about doing post-processing videos, because they don't want to get the backlash and the criticism when people look at their methods and say you're an idiot. But yeah, I think my methods are all right. Next star stuff. Can you bring Rory? I would love to bring Astro Biscuit. He's such a dude. I would love to collaborate with him as well. He seems like of all the Astro YouTubers. You know, I try to be funny. I'm not a naturally funny person. My humor comes through in the edit. I think I'm a funny editor. But Rory is funny as well, and I think our two channels are like the funny ones. So I'd love to collaborate with him at some point. Do I have a 3D printer? Yes, my son does, and he 3D prints me parts when I need them, which is great. Actually, I don't have a 3D printer. He has a 3D printer, but I made him, so he can make me a few 3D parts now and then. Thanks for all the inspiration, guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me on this test stream tonight. I'm going to pull the stream now. It's been almost 2 hours, which is enough to watch a feature-length Marvel movie. But if you've been here from the start, which I assume you haven't, then you could have been watching Spider-Man or something. But you were hanging out with me and getting drunk, hopefully signing the petition and looking at the moon with me live from Byron Bay, Australia, and listening to the dulcet tones of Kaizen Blue, the UK producer who I've been collaborating with. Thank you for enjoying this live view of the moon. Hopefully, if all goes well and I figure out how I'm gonna stay up and somehow get to work after the lunar eclipse at 3 a.m. tomorrow, not tomorrow morning, but the morning after, maybe we can do this all again then. The stream seems to be working, the test was successful, and I do appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. Thanks for everything, guys. I will close the stream now. You've been watching Star Stuff. My name is Dylan O'Donnell, and